Spirit Mountain reposes in the fleeting rays of a crimson sunset. The ruins at its base reek of history, hinting at a past full of horses, hangings, and gunfire. Today, the Grand Canyon Ranch, home of Spirit Mountain and 106,000 acres of grazing land near the edge of the Colorado River, is a destination for travelers looking to see the Grand Canyon from above and experience the Old West in style.
The Grand Canyon Ranch is not only a working cattle ranch, but it's also a guest ranch. We have 10 cabins, 6 teepees, we have horseback rides, a restaurant, gift shop, and a small herd of buffalo that we take our guests out in the back country of the ranch to view.
While guests come here for comfort and a Western experience, it's the history that takes us into the paranormal. Centuries ago, Spirit Mountain beckoned to the souls of the departed as Wallapai Indians worshipped here. They would perform the ghost dance for days on end in order to enter into a trance and commune with the dead. Some tales of tragedy are more recent, though. Old buildings stand as reminders of lives violently lived and violently lost, in some cases within these very walls.
The history of this ranch dates back to 1865. This little stone building behind me was the very first house built. The Starkey family, Wellington Starkey family, came here, homesteaded the first 40 acres, and built this house and lived here for many years. Mr. Starkey was doing very well with the ranch, and the church had recognized that, and they asked him to come up to Salt Lake City, and they gave him a large sum of money. With that money, he was to build a chapel and to improve the grounds around the ranch here. So he was on his travels back. He probably stopped at the old Mormon fort there. Unfortunately, he got into a poker game, which got into some drinking, and he lost the money that the church had given him. So unfortunately, he came back here in shame. He was very upset, and he was afraid of being excommunicated from the church. So he went into that house when Mrs. Starkey was out here in the gardens working, and he decided that he would put an end to his life. He actually shot himself.
That, apparently, wasn't the end of Wellington Starkey, however. After his widow took his body for burial in Kingman, strange things began to happen on the ranch that continue to this very day.
Now today we have some interesting things that go on here at the ranch, unexplained things moving around, lights flickering off and on occasionally, and some psychic people have actually been here and told us that they have communicated with Mr. Starkey. He's not unhappy that we're here. He loves the fact that there's a lot of folks here having a great time, which is good for us. But when we do take pictures in the ranch house and around this area and over by the campfire, we will see some interesting things on the footage. There's a lot of people that lived here on the ranch and died here on the ranch. Tap Duncan, our second owner, was a very notorious gunfighter, bank robber, train robber, and he ruled this ranch with an iron fist, and he was not afraid to take a man out and hang him for horse thievery or even doing anything with his cattle. As a matter of fact, he came up on 2 men that were butchering one of his cows and shot them both dead, dragged the cow home, and had it for dinner.
The history of the Grand Canyon Ranch is varied and at times bloody, with just the right amount of intrigue, Old West grit, and the smell of gunpowder. Add to that mix beautiful landscapes and a friendly ghost who haunts the halls, and you have one memorable destination on your hands. A destination where you can sleep in a teepee in the shadow of Spirit Mountain, where departed souls still look for solace on a moonless night.
If you want to conjure up some fun ghost stories up at the campfire, it's great. But when you get in your cabin and you tuck into bed, you're safe and warm and cozy. And then you get up the next morning, we have beautiful sunrises. So it's a great place to come.
You'll come for the horses, the helicopters, the buffalo, or the beauty, and you'll sleep comfortably, right along with the dead. For AYL, I'm Stephen Heumann. Happy Halloween.